Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of On a Couch Talking Sports, or in this case another edition of On a Walk Talking Sports.
We're gonna crank these up.
Yeah, exactly. We're just out here for a nice evening stroll along the Chestnut Hill Reservoir. As always, I'm Robbie. Kyle's here. How you doing, Kyle?
Hey, not too bad of you. Oh, there we go.
Well.
Nice wide angle. I'm just working on the wide angle walking shots.
Angle. We're also trying not to talk too loudly to not call too much attention to ourselves doing this, but
looks like.
So it's another lovely evening here. We are very excited to be back at you guys with another in-person walking episode. And so this week, what we wanted to talk about was obviously, if you've watched sports movies or if you've watched sporting events or you know anything about sports, you'll know that one of the things that happens before a game usually is a coach's motivational speech. You know, like coaches will.
Sorry, I just gotta get a quick camera over here.
Yeah, I got some blocks here.
Duck camera. Anyways, yeah, sorry.
No problem. Yeah, you gotta get the duck cameo in there, but the things that you never know what you will see going along here. But no, obviously a thing that happens in sports before big events and stuff like that is the motivational speech, where the coach will sort of try to get his team riled up and ready to go for the big competition. So what we wanted to do, what we'd sort of been thinking about was if we were coaches, you know, because we both have coached at various times during our lives in various sports. And what we want to talk about is that if we were coaches, and we were coaching our team before a big championship game, is sort of what we're going to go with here, what would our motivational speech be like to our team? Like, how would we try to get our team fired up, ready to play that big game? Because obviously there's a lot of things you could say. You know, there's many ways you could go with a speech like that. So I guess let's sort of get right into it, Kyle. I'm kind of curious.
Pretty cool.
I'm kind of curious. I mean, like I said, you've coached a couple of times. You know, you've coached basketball with me, and you know, you sort of have been involved in sports for a lot of your life. So I was kind of curious to hear from you first on this. What are your thoughts when you think of a speech you would give to a team that's, like I said, getting ready to go for the championship or something like that? Like, what would be some of the things you would think you would say to a team in that situation?
Well, I would say, hi, I just want to say hi to the Canadian geese over here. Just eating some grass, you know how it is. But you know, there's a lot of different ways you can kind of go about this. So I don't know. I feel like, you know, you could always I'm not the best motivational speech person. I'm not gonna lie, but you know, I don't know if I give that many motivational speeches to 3 and 4 year olds on a general basis, but. But you know, there's a lot of different approaches you can do, and I would say, you know, I'd kind of sum up the season, you know, whether it was a good or bad season. You know, I feel like there's a certain way you can kind of say it without, you know, obviously it was a good season. You count up the wins and everything, and you know, you can reflect on how great you've been doing and everything. But you know, even if it was a bad season, you know, you can still, you know, that can also be another kind of inspirational way to do the speech as well. You can be like, hey, you know, I know we didn't win anything this year, but you know, you just because we, you know, whatever the I'm sorry, I'm really bad at these speeches. No matter the outcome, you know, you just, you know, you play your hardest.
You don't have to give the speech. You just have to tell. So what would
I don't have to give the speech? What?
Yeah, what kind of particular
just points over.
Yeah, just so
oh yeah, I'm in speech.
Describe.
I know. I'm just so emotionally taken back by that. No, okay. Yeah. No, just, you know, kind of like chalk. I would definitely kind of chalk it up to how the season went. How, you know, go over our strengths and
Yeah, no, I think that makes
Stuff like
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think for me, if it, especially if it was like before like a big game, like a championship game or something like that, I think I would, sort of more tend to go on the side of, just telling the team like how, they deserve to be there, and, they've had a, great season, and like, they deserve to win the game. And it's kind of tough because like the way I was kind of thinking about like in sort of preparation for for this walk here is like a part of it, like you really don't know what you're going to say till like you're in that moment, because there's so many different factors.
That's a good point too.
That could play into like what you're going to say, and like what kind of, if your teams have like overcome any adversity or anything like that during the season, like what kind of, like what your team sort of had to overcome, and like what kind of path they've taken to get there. All these different things like sort of go into something like that. So I feel like to a certain extent I would kind of have to like live in the moment, so to speak, and kind of be like, sort of see what the circumstance was. But I do think
that's a really good way to look at it.
But I do think like some amount of just sort of encouraging the team by sort of telling them that they deserve to be in the game, and sort of reiterating that point would definitely be sort of a key element of it for me. Yeah. And then, like I said, just sort of going with sort of the emotion of the moment, or going with the flow of the moment, sort of really letting circumstance dictate exactly what you like to talk about. I mean, it's kind of It's kind of one of those things where you can't really as hard as you try to prepare for it, you really can't prepare for something like that until you're actually in that moment. I think is what it really comes down.
Yeah,
I think you kind of like your inspiration, like when you're in the moment, like I feel like inspiration will definitely strike.
Yeah,
and it'll be a lot easier to like rather than trying to plan it out in advance, because you just don't know, like I said, the circumstances and all that good stuff. So that's kind of what I got.
No, honestly, I think you made a lot of great points. I think you're right. I think one of the key words is adversity. That was, I remember, that was a term that my old football coach actually used to use, and it worked really well. It's one of those speeches that, even though I never became a famous football player or anything, like it still stuck with me. Even all these years later, since I've been playing the sport. So it honestly,
you have those moments, like you have those speeches and those moments of like you just remember in the back of your mind, and they, like you said, they stick with you basically. It really is true.
Yeah, and like you also said too, to kind of piggyback off your other point about really being in the moment, I completely agree with that, because you don't want to sound like you're rehearsed, like you're like reading off of like note cards,
Right, and sometimes what you rehearse like doesn't necessarily capture the moment, so to speak.
Yes.
It's like you kind of have to elements or go off the feeling a little bit at least, because every situation is different when it comes to those types of games.
There you go. No, I think those are really great points, and I agree. Yeah, I think it's just it's, you don't want to ever really sound negative too, because sometimes if you do a speech and you're trying to like bring up too many negative points, like even trying to be like just like if you're saying you're doing a speech and you're like just the whole speech is just about like lambasting the other team, it's like you don't want to do it that way either. Yeah. Just like bring up the positives,
Exactly. Well, thank you, Kyle, for sharing your insight there. Always fun to talk about. Definitely, folks, with these walk episodes, we kind of try to keep them nice, short.
So I just got a quick view.
What a beautiful view that is, folks. Basket. Definitely, we kind of try to make these episodes nice, short, and sweet, and that sort of rounds up this edition of On a Couch Talking Sports, or like I said, On a Walk Talking Sports in this case. And now Kyle and I are going to go get some ice cream.
Yes, crème glacée.
Which is always a good post-show meal.
Always.
Or pre-show meal, for that matter. Who cares? But anyway, until next time, he's Kyle, I'm Robbie, and we are signing off from The Walk. Bye, everybody.
See you guys. Sorry, just a final shot over here. Okay, beautiful.